WWE fans, what happened on Monday Night Raw was the kind of segment that instantly changes the mood around a rivalry. Bron Breakker walked into the arena looking confident, determined to make his case, and clearly ready to remind everyone why he believes he belongs at the very top of WWE. But by the time the segment ended, the conversation had shifted completely toward Oba Femi. This was not simply another confrontation between two rising stars. It felt like a major statement about where WWE could be heading next. Breakker wanted answers, Femi had no interest in backing down, and Paul Heyman found himself standing directly in the middle of a situation that was becoming more intense by the second. What made the exchange so memorable was not a physical confrontation, but the confidence behind Femi's words. He did not need to make a huge scene. He simply looked at Breakker and made it clear that, in his mind, there was no debate about who represents the future. Oba Femi's biggest statement. Yet, to understand why this moment carried so much weight, you have to look at what has happened with Oba Femi. His rise has been built around confidence, presence, and the ability to make every major opportunity feel important. The story surrounding his victory over Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam only added another level to that momentum. Coming out of such a major match, with Lesnar positioned as a significant achievement, Femi suddenly found himself in a completely different conversation. Fans were no longer looking at him simply as another promising young superstar. They were beginning to ask whether he could become one of the central figures of WWE's next generation. That is exactly the kind of attention that can create tension among other young stars who have spent years building their own reputations. When two performers believe they are destined for the same position, eventually there has to be a moment when one of them says, "I am the guy." On Raw, Femi made it clear that he believes that guy is him. Bron Breakker wants his answer. Bron Breakker entered the segment with something to prove. He has already established himself as one of WWE's most explosive young performers, and his time as part of a successful tag team has given him valuable experience at the highest level. But there is a difference between being considered an important superstar and being viewed as the future centerpiece of an entire company. Breakker clearly wants the latter. That is why his challenge to Femi felt so important. He was not simply asking for another match or another opportunity. He was demanding clarity about who WWE sees as its next major face. It was almost as if Breakker wanted Femi to look him in the eyes and admit that he belonged in the same conversation. Instead, Breakker got something very different. He got confidence, resistance, and a response that suggested Femi does not believe there is any competition at all. Paul Heyman changes the entire mood. Then came Paul Heyman, and his arrival immediately changed the atmosphere. Heyman has always been someone who understands how to control a conversation without saying more than necessary. Instead of giving Breakker the easy answer he wanted, Heyman turned the question back toward him. Who really is the future of WWE? Suddenly, Breakker was no longer controlling the segment. He was waiting for someone else to define the situation. That small change was important because it allowed the tension to build without the need for a physical confrontation. Every second became more uncomfortable, and the audience knew that someone significant was eventually going to have to answer the question. Then Femi's music hit, and the entire focus shifted. Femi walked toward the ring with an unmistakable sense of confidence, almost as if he already knew exactly how the conversation was going to end. Femi's handshake sends a message. The most interesting part of the entire segment may have come after the verbal exchange. Once the match announcement was made, Heyman shook Breakker's hand and then extended that same gesture toward Femi. It was a small moment, but wrestling audiences naturally look for meaning in moments like that. Heyman has a long history of aligning himself with major WWE figures, so seeing him acknowledge both men created another layer to the story. For Breakker, it could easily feel like another reminder that he is not the only person being considered for WWE's next big chapter. For Femi, it looked like another sign that his growing status is being recognized. Whether Heyman's actions were simply professional or part of something much larger, the visual was enough to get fans talking. September 6th could change everything. Now, the attention turns towards the upcoming showdown in Atlanta. The biggest question is no longer who has the louder voice or who can deliver the better line on Raw. The question is which superstar can actually prove his claim when the spotlight is at its brightest. Breakker has every reason to enter the match, determined to erase the embarrassment of being dismissed on television. Femi, meanwhile, has the opportunity to back up his confidence and show that his words were more than just talk. That is what makes this matchup so compelling. Neither man can hide behind the other after the bell rings. There will be no microphone to protect them, and no long debate about who deserves the spotlight. There will simply be two ambitious young stars trying to establish themselves as the next major name in WWE. The future starts now. Whatever happens next, Monday Night Raw made one thing clear. The conversation surrounding WWE's next generation has become much more interesting. Bron Breakker wants the world to recognize what he can become, while Oba Femi is already carrying himself like the recognition is inevitable. That difference in attitude could become the defining element of their rivalry. Breakker believes he has something to prove, while Femi believes everyone else simply needs to catch up. And now, with their match officially set, the debate will finally move beyond words. Fans will get to see which superstar can turn confidence into results. The future of WWE is always a moving target, and neither Breakker nor Femi is willing to step aside. What began as a question on Raw has now become a personal challenge, and by the time they meet in Atlanta, both men will have the opportunity to make their strongest argument yet for why they should be the one leading WWE into its next era.